Okay, y'all just know my mama needs me. I won't hold on. Let
Well,
me do something.
we love you. Oh, look at that gorgeous little baby right there.
Yeah.
She got on her
Bye.
Halloween outfit. Welcome everybody to Abnormal Alabama. We want to give a great, big, huge group hug to Catherine and her mother. Her mother was just diagnosed with very serious cancer. It's been a horrible couple of days for these guys. I was at the hospital with them yesterday and late last night. Finally, Catherine got some sleep. They brought her some kind of bed. She still looks a little bit tired,
I'm
but
exhausted.
tell your mother that we're all with her and we're not giving up hope and we're going to be prayers and all the above. Uh, and there's no prayer warrior like Kevin. He is the major top notch general. He's the 5-star general of Jesus prayer warriors right there. And if Kevin, maybe Kevin even donate a book, that one of his books for her to read to
Oh,
get
she would love.
Well,
She would love that, Kevin.
hey, yeah.
that would
I
be
know
an
she's got several of them. I'd have to find out which one she doesn't have. Oh, that one. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That's it.
Kevin, that would be so amazing. She would love that.
And
Yeah.
Kevin doesn't realize it, but he was led to write that just for her.
Maybe. Hey, you never know what the heck.
We got people on here. Look at this. People are coming alive here.
Yes.
Hey, guys. Hey, hello, everyone. I love you guys all. Thank you
Yeah.
for the prayers, and we really do appreciate them.
Uh-oh.
And we're feeling them.
All
All your
right,
good spirits, everything.
Catherine, we know that you're tired. We know you're taking care of your mom. So we thank you for saying hi to us and give your mom our love and our best wishes, okay? And
I
we're going to
will.
see if we can hook up with Kevin and get one of those books for her to read and give
Yeah.
her some comfort.
Yes, that inspiration book she would love.
And Kevin, you need to autograph that for her too.
Yeah, I can't, what was her name?
Susan,
Susan.
Susan.
yeah, Strickland,
Yeah, I can do that. Do
yeah.
that.
But we'll
All
hook
right,
up with.
guys, I gotta run take care of a phone call real quick. I will call you guys. I will be back in just a minute, okay?
All right, all right. Okay. Well, I think later in the show, Kevin has prepared probably some stories, holiday horror stuff. Is that true, Kevin?
Yeah, and I got it. If you want to do a few minutes with a doll, I got a doll here too.
We
But yeah, I
do.
got some Christmas stories up here that
All
we
right.
can do that, second hour after your.
Now, after he does the session with this doll, that we'll start out as usual. Then we're going to go into the miracle of this day, and I'm talking about. Kevin's very aware of it. I've shared it on TikTok and a few other places. When I went to get lunch, I shared it with this strange girl that was waiting on me, and she broke down in tears and had me boo-hooing. Um, and it's Kevin and others that personally know me know I'm not easily convinced of stuff. I'm very much a skeptic, and I'm very pragmatic. This day has been a day of miracles for me, and I call the story the wedding band, and we're going to talk about that after Kevin opens up with his doll. Omar, thank you for
Yes.
showing Incarnation one, not two. He's one. Of course, we're welcoming my friend Brandon Lee Moore of Blount County Bigfoot Research. Thank you for joining
Yes.
us too. And stay tuned. Kevin is unusual behavior is going to open up this show talking to what doll?
Yeah, this one is. She came all the way from the UK.
And you just what's her name?
Sarah.
Sarah. So I'm going to step back and let Kevin run this. He usually goes for somewhere around 20 minutes or so, I think, normally. And you guys, if you hear something on Kevin's Spirit Box and his communication to learn more about Sarah, share it in the comment section there. And Kevin and I will be watching that, even though I'm going to take myself off screen. And you've got to stick around for the wedding band story, the miracle of this December 6th of 2022. It is a very powerful story that's given me a highly emotionally charged day and really shook me to the core. Kevin, who's experienced a lot of things, is himself, I believe, a little bit bewildered over this one, and probably enhanced because Kevin knows me so well. So, you ready, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm all that with Catherine. I need to finish up sharing here, but yeah, I'm pretty much ready.
Okay. Yeah. Some I've already seen it on my postings on Facebook and YouTube, and also on TikTok. Um, but this morning, it's been a very emotional week because of Catherine's mother, and also I've got a friend up in Decatur who is in the hospital, but she's recovering well and going to be going into therapy. And I helped her, went up there the other day because her husband couldn't drive, and so I took him to see his wife, and also took him grocery shopping so he would have food. and
Yeah.
and then came home, and then we started dealing with Catherine's mother, and I spent a lot of time at the hospital here, Grandview, over in Hoover. So, are you ready, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm pretty much ready.
Okay, stay tuned because when he gets
Share.
through with this, we're going to talk about this miracle of the wedding band, and it is a fresh, brand new story that happened in my life, and Kevin knows how excited I am about it. So you've got to hear this. If just you got to hear it. All right, Kevin, she's all yours.
Yes. All right. So, as I was saying, this doll came all the way from the UK from a friend of mine who I hope watches this. She's probably in bed. She's in Scotland, and her name is Claire. And she herself is also a doll collector, or was. She's married now. Since she started collecting, she's married and got 2 babies of her own. So she kind of eased back on that, I guess, to make sure to protect them. So, but she had a lot of dolls in her home, and I've got at least 3 or 4 of them, and then I couldn't get any more, because shipping from the Scotland all the way to here. The last baby that came, the box was just mashed up, so we decided, you know what, let's let's not do that anymore. So, but this is little Sarah. I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera on her. And she is a pretty little girl. In fact, she looks a lot like Claire, because Claire's face and eyes are exactly like that. And I told her, I said, this doll could be your twin if you were also 8 or 9 inches tall. And same color hair, all that. But dang, I should have got a picture of Claire and put it up here, but we won't worry about that. But we're going to try a spirit box. I've already showed her the ball. I think we're kind of running that battery down there. I was going to put the skull rim pod out here, but her being a little 7-year-old child, the kids don't seem to like the skull. So I'll just let her play with the ball. And if she wants to, she can ring that bell. And I've already showed these to her before I came on tonight.
I'd be super excited for that bell to ring.
And yeah, so far it has not rung since I've had this bell for 6-7 months. It was earlier this year, and that came from a hotel somewhere. I can't remember now where. I'd have to look it up, but it was a hotel bell. All right, so we got little Sarah here, and her story, according to Claire, Sarah was 7 years old. She was kidnapped, and they never found her. They presume she was murdered by an unknown assailant, but they never found a body. And her spirit is very timid at first, but she warms up with a little affection and attention. So maybe we'll find out more about her story, but I'm not going to try to push her if she doesn't want to talk about it. We got a nice early start on this. Last week I kept yapping, and we started at past 7:15. There it is. All right, Sarah. Now this thing here, if you come close to it and talk, I should be able to hear you. But we'll see. Just give it a try. Sarah, if you want to say hello to everybody, or if there are any spirits here who want to help us, let us know that Sarah is here. Make sure I do have the volume up on this thing. Yep, I do. Now I hear that you're timid, Sarah, but don't worry. We're with friends here, and you've been with me for 5 years now, so you know me. And you've probably been playing around with my spirit children for a while. Ah, there we go. Good. Hello, Sarah. I hope it's somebody helping you speak there. Sarah, can tell me your last name? I've never gotten your last name before.
This can help you earn it.
Now, this is anybody wondering, ooh, my camera's going a little weird here. No, there we go. I think that was just me. For those of you that don't know, this is GhostTube. It's an app you can get, and it's free if you just want to use it like this. If you want to do videos with the app, which you can, you get about 2 minutes with it, or you can pay a small $2 or $3 fee to get as much as you want. One-time fee. And I've been enjoying this thing. So, Sarah, I think you are here. Where are you from? I heard a little voice there. Did you come from Scotland, like Claire?
Abilities.
It's good to hear from you. I bet you remember Claire, don't you? Mama Claire?
Thought.
She had a cat like mine. Well, she had a couple of cats. And she and I talked. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Do you remember the name of Claire's cat? And if you want to answer yes by touching the ball, you can do that. There we go. So you do it just like that. Do you miss Claire? Oh, that's good. You know what? She's going to love seeing this. It just might make her cry. Oh, goodness. It's still going off. Look at that. You must have really loved Claire. Yeah. Oh, yep. All right. I'm glad you like that. Oh, here we go. Got another one excited for the cat ball. Have you been having fun here where you live with me now? Do you have fun with the spirit children? Oh, I can't wait to share this. I'm going to share this with Claire tomorrow morning. She's in bed over there all the way in Scotland, but I'm sure she's going to enjoy knowing that you have not forgotten her, which we know you wouldn't anyway. Yeah. Yeah. You just keep having crap. Okay, I may have frozen up for a second there. I don't know. The stupid internet connection. You know, my internet is on and it should be working. So I don't know what's going on here with that, but
Invite to
so what do you like to do, Sarah? Do you like to play? Do you like to dance? Do you like to sing? Oh. What is your favorite song to sing? Let me think of some songs. Do you like London Bridge? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've taken so long to do a session with you and talk to you. Shame on me. We need to do a one-on-one with you later too, so we can get you some attention. Dang, I'm so excited. My mind's drawn a blank. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? It'd be cool if you asked me a question.
American West.
This is awesome.
Running off.
Did you want to try to tap the top of the bell there? Maybe try to push it a little and see if it'll ring. My chair is squeaking in the background, so I apologize. I'm moving around here trying to get adjusted. Well, you've got a very beautiful doll. Does this doll look like you? Is this how you really look? Adoption? Were you adopted? If it's okay to ask, and if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. But tell me What is it that happened to you?
There's difference.
Did someone hurt you? Well, just know that they cannot hurt you now. Can you tell me who it was that hurt you? If you feel like talking about it. Was it a man? Was it a woman?
Professional realms.
Was it someone you knew? Someone close to you? Okay. We'll move on to something happier. So what, let's see, you said you like to sing. Did you have did you have television or cartoons before you became a spirit? I think that was a yes. If it was, what was your favorite thing to watch?
Nurse like
So where did you live?
beyond
Did you live in a city?
headlights.
Headlights? So I guess it was a busy place, huh? Now that was clear. I've got to go back and play this back because that sounded very interesting. I didn't quite make it out. What is your favorite music? Are you playing some music?
It's from 6.
Man, I'm getting some solid responses. Definitely a girl's voice. I'm gonna let Claire know to watch this tomorrow. Is there anything you'd like to say to Claire?
Anyway, I should be public here.
I wish I had my projector in here to show the lights in the background over there, but I'm using that for Christmas lights outside. Oh, Sarah, it's almost Christmas is going to be here in a couple of weeks. Do you like Christmas? Your hair is so adorable. Did Claire do that for you?
My
Did your hair? Does your real hair look like this? So what was your favorite thing to get for Christmas? The earliest present I can remember was getting a tractor when I was about 5 years old, I think. It's one of those tractors. Oh, that was Christmas music. Thank you. But there was a tractor you could sit on, it was big enough for a child to sit on and ride it. It had pedals on it. And it had a what you call it behind it? A wagon. Okay, I see some spammers in the comments here, so we need to get rid of this. All right.
I saw it at the same time.
We don't want their hot sex here.
I don't know. I'll get rid of this.
Well, we've had some interesting responses here, Sarah. I really appreciate you coming through. I was going to ask you about my Christmas lights out there because the way the projector is, the lights are coming off on the bedroom window right next to your doll. What do you think of those pretty green and red lights?
He's not real.
Did you want to try to did you want to try to set off the cat ball again before we stop? You were doing such a good job earlier, but I know it takes a lot of energy.
Can't be in.
I know it just makes you tired, doesn't it? There's those comments again. I don't know if Kelsey's getting those. God, we're getting some comments on one of our channels from some nasty, fake, somebody advertising sex. They probably wish they had it. I'm sorry, Sarah. That was rude to say that in front of you. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Do you like the inflatables out there? The angel and the big giant cup of hot chocolate with the marshmallow man in it?
Stop it.
How about the Christmas tree in there? That's really pretty, isn't it?
That called us.
That's one of my favorite things about Christmas is the decorations. Presents are fun too, but as I got older, I like the giving part better. I like to see other people get happy. Are you happy now, Sarah? I hope so. I want you to be happy. You're in a good, safe place. I think you're getting tired now. I feel like you're kind of winding down. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I don't want to wear you out. So if there are any spirits that don't belong here, be sure to go back. I'm going to count down from 5. Be sure to go back to where you came from if you don't belong. And those that are here, just back away because I'm going to close this door when I count down from 5. Starting right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Goodbye. There we go. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, she's adorable.
I'm back. I brought Lady Cat back on. I don't know if she's going to talk with us or not. I hope she's doing okay. So, the promised story about the adventure in my life today, the miracle. I'm calling it a miracle. This is really, really exciting for me, and it's really been a highly emotionally charged day because of this event. And Kevin recognized how excited I was. Just so let me tell a little bit of a story here. It's going to take me a minute to get all this out because I want to give everybody a background a little bit as to what's going on. I'm not going to assume anybody knows anything. First of all, my background is in religion, in church. I was through with ministry school by the time I graduated from high school. I had public speech training and had to write sermons and outlines and introductions and conclusions and gesturing. I was graded on every little piece of standing in front of people that you could think about being graded on. And of course, very deeply involved in spirituality. And the religion, our bit on Christianity and religion, we certainly were not afraid to discuss things of what we commonly call ghosts and spirits. We certainly believed in spirits and angels and demons and all the above. And so that was kind of a part of my life. I was a skeptic, and the more I studied and more I learned, because I ended up getting my degree in theology, and I'm not going to say it totally blocked my mind, but it changed my worldview. It changed my view of religion and in general. So this has been a battle and a struggle with me throughout a good part of my adult life. I guess I really separated myself from organized religion probably in my late 30s and throughout my 40s. And things I saw in the church and organized religion and so forth and so on. And some people say, oh, you're blaming God. I didn't blame God on anything. That wasn't the point. But anyway, over the course of the last 20 years or more of my life, I ended up ultimately losing my entire family through natural death. My sister had inflammatory carcinoma. She died at 52. My mother had a massive heart attack and died at 80. And I was left as the only living biological family member except for distant cousins. So this is a natural subject for me. I mean, we want to know, is there something after life? We want to be comforted in some way, all the above. I never had, even with all the losses, any experience of any family member or loved one coming to me, and presenting themselves from spirit world. It just never happened. So that kind of made me even more skeptical of things. Update from there, several years ago, I married Linda in the backyard of the house I'm sitting in. Just a very small, intimate affair. And we exchanged rings back there. She had found a set of rings that she purchased that she wanted. And then, I don't know, a couple of years after the end, she said, look, I've got this ring. Somebody else wore it, but, would it offend you to wear it? It's a nice ring. I said, it doesn't bother me. I wear it. And it did, nice ring. And so I put it on. And in the backyard, she was very much into horticulture, plants and whatnot. She had a little round little pond. It was very small, but had a frog that shot water out of its mouth. And the leaves would fall and leaves and debris would get in there. And I would go out and just clean the stuff out of my hand and throw, And in doing that, one time, all of a sudden the ring slipped off my finger and went with the leaves off over here. I immediately freaked out. I used a metal detector. I dug, I looked and looked and looked, and it just, I even got a big magnet on a stick and walked around with it and just couldn't find the ring anywhere. Fast forward to March of this year, Linda passed away. She'd been ill for a long, long time. And shortly after she passed away, I decided to go on another scavenger hunt. And I wanted to clean up the backyard anyway because of being a caregiver, it had been neglected. So I chopped plants, I cleaned the area up, and all the time still looking for this ring. Nowhere to be found. Fast forward to this morning. I get up, I spent time with Catherine and her family at the hospital, Grandview, where their mother was, and got home, I don't know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And the first thing that happened when I finally dozed off, and Catherine had messaged me sometime around 7 or so in the morning and said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I've been having nightmares," which was very unusual for me. She said, "About what?" I said, "Well, Linda and hospitals." And it was, even in my sleep, and I don't think I told Catherine this, but even in my sleep, I was crying. And so anyway, I got myself together and I moved on from that. And I decided to go in the backyard. And I walked the same path that I had maintained, this path, a little bit of gravel area between some bushes. And had blown leaves off. This was not an uncommon area for me to track through. And I noticed this little wow.
Sorry about that. That was my phone.
I noticed this little gold circle, and I thought, that's unusual. Well, guess what? There, laying right there, was the ring. Not off to the side, not buried in the dirt. I mean, literally. In fact, if you look at the picture behind us, I'm going to get rid of Kevin just for a second. Still can't see it. Sorry. But right behind here, just a little bit of dirt. And it's like, it blew my mind because I looked diligently for that ring. Well, I want to add more to the story. It didn't hit me till a little bit later. I'm talking to Catherine. She's let me know that her mother is going to be coming home from the hospital. And on my phone, as any of us that use social media knows, it popped up that this was Linda's birthday. So on her birthday, all these years later, this shows up. They go figure. And my mind has been spinning ever since because you don't know how much effort I put into locating this ring all those years. And here on her birthday, after having these very vivid dreams last night, this ring pops up right in the middle of the walkway that I've walked a million times. So that's it. That's pretty much the story. The wedding band, and that's it. It's not a, as you see, it's got 3 diamonds in it. Those are real diamonds. It's not a fake ring. It's an expensive ring, and so not just a sentimental attachment that has monetary value too. So anyway, that is the miracle day as far as I'm concerned. I'm just still beside myself with what took place there. I don't know quite how to deal with it. It certainly gives me a new perspective because a lot of what we do is communicating with the dead. When we're on here and Kevin is using the spirit boxes and we're using these devices like this to try to get some kind of communication, we are indeed trying to communicate with the dead. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yeah.
I mean, that is ultimately it. That's why a lot of, especially fundamentalist Christians, kind of frown on what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. But you know what? If you pray to Jesus, you're praying to someone that was human and died. Okay? And that's a reality. How many times Catherine going to talk up?
We got a bad echo now.
Okay, I'm back off for a minute. Catherine, you're Lady Cat and you're Catherine Marie.
How many of them are there?
Well, given my background, when you spend so much of your life, when you dedicate so much of your life searching and seeking, and to me, it was never a hobby. For some people I know, it's kind of a hobby. It's fun, entertaining, to me, it's like, no, I really want to know as much as I can. And so it's always been, at least at the very least, on the fringe of my existence, and sometimes very much in the forefront of my existence. So I knew of a particular type of religion, and I've entertained that, and spiritualism. Um, and in that religion, not trying to define God for you like the Catholics would or the Protestants would, and not denying certainly the existence of what we like to call infinite intelligence, creator, however you want to label it. We're trying, in religion, we're certainly trying to determine and to identify and define things that we really can't see, we feel, and we depend a lot on old writings. The Bible's full of old writings, and the largest religious organization on the planet is Christianity, and they rely on these compilation of old writings called the Holy Bible. The Catholic version has 73, 74 books. The Protestant version has 66 books. And the good stories, a lot to be learned from them. Personally, I just don't think God can be contained in a book.
Nope.
I think it's much bigger. I think the book has good things in there. And I don't think that all the stories should be taken literally. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people do. I think the problem I have with the Jesus story is they're so busy trying to prove Jesus existed that they miss his message. And okay, I think it's more important to get the message than it is to worry about whether Jesus was a real character or not. The message is what's important. But anyway, given all that, this experience today, and you combine that with other minor experiences I've had in my life, certainly opened my eyes up to the possibilities of what's out in the universe. And again, not trying to over define it. Long before we had all these instruments and these apps on our phones, humans have been communicating in one form or another with, as you say, the dead and spirits. A lot of people say the spirit world, long before we had these devices, and they effectively did so. It's called, in spiritualism, mediumship. Clearly, this miracle took place without necessity of any devices. And Kevin himself has videos in his house of fantastic things that's happened with no explanation. And none of these devices were needed. Recently, there was this ball, this moon thing that just rolled. It was on a platform. It wasn't like it could just roll off the table. It removed itself from the platform and then fell off the table.
And the platform never moves. Not even an inch.
So
It's like it just went.
my point again is that these are interesting and they can be entertaining and fun, but my take on it is they're far from necessary. I think they become a tool that we become dependent on.
You don't need that?
Yeah.
Shucks.
And I believe a part of that is because there's so much ambient noise and energy around us that we miss a whole lot, because there's signals going everywhere, and there's devices everywhere. There's TVs, there's cell phones, there's everywhere we go, is you can't get away from it. And I think it blocks our senses. I don't know how Kevin feels about this, but this is where I am with the entire thing. And I'm just kind of opening up with all that. So, and I'm not knocking the use of anything. Don't think that I'm saying, don't do this, Kevin. I'm not doing that. I'm saying that I don't think it's necessary. I think some of the most profound experiences we have in life, that's it.
This is a good thing, right?
Big head right there that he's got with my haunted dolls on it has the capacity to communicate with spirit without the use of any tools. The neat thing about these devices is that you can share in an audio way, like, hey, listen, I heard that too. And
Mhm.
when you're going at it at another level, it doesn't quite work that way. Anyway, that is the story of the miracle of this wedding band. That I have not seen this in years, folks. In years, I knew where I lost it. I knew when I lost it, and I could not find it to save my life. I've got 2 metal detectors now. I bought on a stick and wheels a big magnet, and then other kinds of magnet. I covered that ground. I dug through stuff, and I looked and looked, and couldn't find it. Guess what? On her birthday, it was presented to me in a way that is phenomenal. So I cannot prove that she put it there. No, I can't prove that. But I know that it wasn't there before because I've been across that path a million times in the last dozen years or so. So there is the story of the wedding band. And I welcome any comments about it. I welcome anybody's viewpoint on it, skeptical or otherwise. I've gotten a lot of feedback, and I think regardless of what you feel, certainly I think it's a precious thing to have something returned to you that's been lost for so long.
We don't want no spam though, like some of them comments.
Yeah, this is not a sexual tool, folks. So thanks for enduring that story. Catherine, are you back with us?
Oh, she's okay.
I'm in and out.
Well, that's good, but you got a very nice picture of yourself up there.
Oh, here, Jilly's got another comment. That was a wonderful way for her B-Day to be remembered.
Boy, I'll never forget.
Nope.
Every time I look at that ring, for sure.
And right here, almost at Christmas time.
Yep. Well, like I said, her birthday, and that did not dawn on me. First thing this morning when I found the ring, I wasn't even thinking about her birthday, and then a little bit later, it just popped up on my phone. How it reminds you. It's like so and so's birthday. It's like, well, God, this is the 6th of December. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. So, with that, I am now. There's your girlfriend up there.
Oh, Lord, that chat thing. Not you, Jilly Jill, but this other one down here. Want me to do it, or are you already?
They are relentless now. Let's see. That's somewhere. Let's see. It's not on my page anymore. It was on my page. It must have tracked you down now.
Okay, well here I got it here. There we go.
So anyway, the life is fascinating. We don't know everything. I'll be the first to admit that. With all the studies I've done and the bookworm and all that stuff I've been involved in my life, it's not been unusual for me to be occasionally asked by someone, with all that, what did you learn? And the first thing I respond is, guess what? I learned that we don't know too much. There's no doubt, Jilly Jill, I certainly had clearly couldn't find it, so wasn't meant to. That's pretty clear. Yes. So, given all that, I'm not going to just go on and on about this, even though I've been excited a bit and very emotionally charged day in regards to that. Kevin, I think, has looked up for the last hour and a few minutes of this show some holiday horror. Kevin is wrapped up in horror like you wouldn't believe. He likes them slasher movies and the scarier, the better. What's your favorite? Jason? Is that your favorite?
Oh, well, Halloween, Michael Myers was my favorite. But Jason is so close up there that they're about even.
Well, and he's got the mask too. He can go around the house and look like that.
I know Freddy is awesome, but he's a little too comical. It's not scary to me. But
do you have a picture of your Christmas decorations that you can share?
Oh, yeah, I can do that before we do the right here. I got my Facebook wall up, so I can just share the screen here.
Let's get her done.
Here we go. I don't know that I need audio, but I'll share that anyway, just in case. Yeah, there is a video out there too. I think. Well, no, this is on Fate. So let's see. Oh yeah, my snow globe. It's there, but let me show the outdoor.
Click on the picture, make it big. There you go.
There we go.
Is that Casper?
Got the. That's the. It's supposed to be a giant mug of hot chocolate, and that's a Marshmallow Man.
Well, Marshmallow
Swimming
Man
inside
looks almost like he looks like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
And he's got a little marshmallow fellow, and there's a couple down there below the mug, and it says "Warmest Wishes."
And you've
And
got
you got
those
the-
lights on your front of your house too.
Yeah, we got the light up angel with the little nativity thing. Notice I don't put shepherds and wise men out there because they didn't come till later anyway. So
Yeah.
But
That
what I like,
You
What
got
I
more than you got more than one of those on your house shining that way.
yeah, there's two projectors. One's on this end. There's another over here. So yeah, there's two projectors. And what's cool, I didn't know to the pictures, but there was some fog out there floating by. So over the rooftop there, you can see
Mm-hmm.
that's just so easy. Just stake the projectors on the ground and flip them on, and you don't have to worry about climbing up a ladder and putting lights up.
Yeah, that's it right there. And it
And
looks better.
You can see that from the road. It looks pretty cool there. Usually I would have the inflatables up front here, but it was with those up front, you couldn't see the lights like that projected. It was glaring all that out.
Mm.
But I really like those projectors. And there's the moon. I went ahead and snapped some moon shots because it looks so spooky. All right. So I had a video of that globe over here. Whoa, we went back to the top. Oh, the cat with my. I looked up from the kitchen counter and she was staring at me just like that. And I said, "Hold that! I got to get the camera." So, and somebody commented that can be your Christmas card next year.
Mm.
All right, and then I got to.
And one of our
I don't have
favorite one of our favorite stars passed away. I saw you scroll by that.
Yeah. Oh, here you can see indoor decoration. Look at the weenie dancing in front of it.
Is that on your desk?
Let me play that again.
It's not playing very well.
You can find anything on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's a fun little thing. to
There's
play
a
with.
picture of the tree. There's the
Now
tree.
we-
And then another thing with it, I like to be easy with even inside. This is a pre-lit tree that's got lights. It's got fiber optic. There's no need for ornaments unless you just want them.
Now we're looking at in your side of your house there with those, and I got to ask because we've been talking about my experience, been talking about Catherine's mother. How's your dad? He had knee surgery, folks, knee replacement surgery, and Kevin missed a little bit of the shows because he was a caregiver for a minute. How are we looking there?
Oh, he's doing fine now. I mean, he's doing a lot better. Now he's dealing with these breakouts he's been getting because the just showing off the snow globe there. But I'll go ahead and stop sharing here. But he's starting to get these welts that keep coming and going, and the doctor said it's a delayed reaction from the what do they call it, adhesive they used for the bandage.
Oh, yeah. Some
He says
people
it
have
can
allergies. Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't show up till almost a month later. And the doctor said that's normal. They can delay for about 4 weeks and start just popping up. He's had it on his shoulders, his back. We're having to rub this particular special cream on it, and he's taking an antihistamine over the counter, not over the counter, but prescription strong antihistamine to
Is
knock
it
that
itching
out.
him? Is it itching
It
him?
is. But the knee, the swelling's finally, it keeps coming and going, but it's getting to where he don't have to use a cane to walk around. He's got a little bit of a limp.
So he's feeling real good now.
Yeah, he's been for a few weeks, about 3 weeks, he's been sleeping in his own bed. For a while, he was sleeping on the his recliner right smack in the middle of the house here because he couldn't get in the bed and be able to get where he needed to be
Right.
for that knee to be straight.
Fantastic.
But every time every time it would get better, something else would happen. Now it's these welts, and he keeps on saying something to me. You better hire Morgan and Morgan and sue them folks.
Our what is it, Shannara?
Oh, call me, Alabama.
Yeah. Okay. Well, are you ready? Oh, wait a minute. Let's do your advertisement here.
Yeah.
MyHauntedDolls.com. 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 Kevin's a very prolific author of some 14 books, and he'd be glad to tell you about those books.
Yeah, all these books I got out there. The My Haunted Collection books, that's the second one. And the original one there. I even got some scary stories and some supernatural novels based on some of my haunted items. And there's some nonfiction ones out there too. I don't think I got any of them there, but of course I always have it right here next to me, the newest one.
Recent book there. What's it called? I couldn't see the title.
Fear Not, Weep Not. Scriptures of My Life and Others Too.
All right. So clearly you need that book after watching Kevin, because he will put fear in you. So I think he did this on purpose so he could sell a book, is what it is.
Gotta sell a book.
Sell a book.
I still that was a surprise a few nights ago. So what was last week? Somebody bought overnight. It showed several copies of that sold to somebody. I don't know if some Sunday school group bought it or what happened. But
if you enjoy any of what we do, in other words, if you are into what we're doing and trying to communicate with the dead and whatnot, check out First Spiritualist Church of Alabama. It's www.fscofal.org. And we will have weekly online readings, not with tarot cards. You can use tarot cards, but those things we don't feel are totally necessary. So that's going to pick up as we go along here. So this will be on a more spiritual level than what we're doing in Abnormal Alabama, as Kevin communicates with his dolls and tells these stories. So anyway, let's get into what do you got, Kevin?
I got some scary stories here. Let me pull this one up here. The first one, I didn't get to read all of them, but the first one was a good one here. But
Jilly Jill, Kevin was talking about his dad, and he is doing better. And he's starting to walk around without a cane. And now he's just having some aftermath of the bandages and breaking out and itching some.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do we got?
Yeah.
What do we got? Talk to us.
Some of these are stories shared online, like Reddit, and others are ones I guess people wrote years before. But I like this Reddit story that's just called Creepy Christmas, and it's someone's supposedly true incident. And this one's kind of shorter than some of the other ones, but it's a creepy one. This is my first post and first ever day on Reddit, so please bear with me. When I saw Let's Not Meet, that's where they post stories about weird stalkers and all. When I saw Let's Not Meet, I knew I had to share one of my own not so pleasant stories. It was Christmas Eve. and I was a freshman in high school. My family had been split up for some time, so normally we trade off of Christmas Day and Christmas Eve every year. And this year, I had come home early from my grandparents' Christmas party while everyone else was at my aunt and uncle's celebrating at another party. When I was dropped off, my cousins offered to stay with me for a few hours, yet I declined. I thought I could watch some of my new DVDs and get some alone time in the house, which is a rarity. I had noticed an unfamiliar car parked on the street, but did not think anything of it considering it was Christmas Eve. Probably a neighbor's relative or something. After I got inside, I locked the door, grabbed snacks, and started to settle down. I had not been home for more than 15 minutes when there was a knock at the door. I unlocked the door and opened it only a crack to see a man standing there, dark hair, glasses, slightly overweight, and dressed casually. He did not look like much of a threat, but my stomach dropped. He asked, "I was wondering about the car outside. Is it for sale?" I told him I did not think so. "Is there someone here I can talk to about it?" I quite stupidly said, "No, you can come back another time," and shut the door and turned the lock as fast as I could. He reached for the handle immediately and started pounding on the door. I heard a string of profanities and the pounding stopped. Terrified, I was crawling on the floor to the phone, hoping he would not be able to see me through one of the windows. Then I heard the noises. Our house had an open garage door, and it led through to the laundry room, where the door lock was broken and no one had bothered to fix it. Just then, I heard the man yell, and I saw the man through the window run to his car and drive off. My uncle had gotten there just in time, and scared the man off. Who knows what would have happened if he had not made it home in time? Sadly, we did not get the plate number and nothing ever came of it, but I'll never be home alone on a holiday again. So it's not your comedy Home Alone story there, but that sure is freaking scary.
Never be alone on a holiday again.
And I've seen some people post about somebody knocking on their door and they'd come, there was some car they'd never seen before parked out there, the person saying, "Hey, is that for sale?" People, intruders use all kinds of ways to get in your house, even in broad daylight. So you have to be on guard.
I got cameras all the way around my house. I got a Ring doorbell, so if you come walking down the sidewalk, it goes off.
Yep.
And
Ring
no matter
doorbell.
where I am, I know if somebody's coming to my house or not, and I can talk to them. I can be in California and talk to them through my Ring doorbell.
We even have 007 here. We got some. You got some. I got one of those camera pins you can put in your pocket.
Oh, I got one. I got that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got, let's see, it's not in here, but I plug in the wall. It looks like a USB jack, to plug in a 110, and it works, but it's also got a camera in it.
All kinds of camera out there.
Well, we got a few listeners here. We've had a very interesting night so far, folks. It's just a few minutes after 8. Kevin is started our night out with Sarah, and a very interesting spirit box session with her that he's even going to go back and listen to because he was amazed, I believe. And then I had the opportunity to share my miracle December 6th story. Just a mind-blowing story I call The Wedding Band. It's a true story, happened to me today. I gave the history, the background of what led up to it, and then this amazing, amazing day. And it all, folks, evolved around this ring right here. It's not, I don't call it a haunted ring, but it is an amazing miracle ring. So my miracle ring is the story that came in next. And now Kevin is sharing some holiday horror stories. The first one he shared was not funny at all. And if you're prone to nightmares, well, all I can say is be careful. Kevin is trying to scare the crap out of you so he can sell a book on comfort.
Yes, that was true horror. And I can plug. I've already started on the next book, which right now the title is Urban Nightmares, but I may change that. But it's stories I'm writing based on urban legends. So, and speaking of urban legends, here's one that's been around for a little while. I think they've made a movie about it. I know the old 1980s show Tales from the Dark Side had an episode about this fellow. And I'm going to read a story about him in case you've never heard of him. The Grither. The Grither. A legendary monster who lives in the icy wastes at the North Pole. Just when you thought Santa Claus was all we had at the North Pole, you know, you have to have good, you have to have evil to go with the good. So here's the Grither. It was Christmas Eve, and the family was gathered in the living room. The father was reading the newspaper, and the mother was knitting a sweater. The children, Jimbo and Steffa, were stretched out on the floor with their crayons and their coloring books. "Tell us a story," Steffa demanded. "Yeah, scary one," Jimbo insisted. "All right," said their father. "I'm going to tell you about the most fearsome, dangerous, and appalling creature in all the world, and it's called the Grither." "Oh, now you've done it," said the mother. "You said his name out loud." "Who is he?" asked Jimbo. "Oh," the father said, "he's the most awful thing in the world. He lives in a cave at the North Pole. The coldest, wettest place on earth is where the Grither makes his home. He sleeps in the wreck of a ship that somehow got squeezed into the mouth of a cave. He doesn't mind the cold, and he doesn't mind the wet. But the thing he hates most of all is to hear someone say his name. He has very good ears, and they get bigger every time his name is spoken anywhere on the earth. Sometimes his ears get so big he can use them to fly." "I don't like this story," Steffa whined. "Oh, it's too late now," said the mother. "We've already mentioned his name. The Grither is probably on his way to our house this very minute." "It'll probably take him a while to get here," said the father. "If we finish the story before he gets here, everything will be fine. Do you know why the Grither is called the Grither?" "Why?" the children asked in unison. "Because," he told them, "he has fists as big as basketballs and arms as long as boa constrictors. Whenever he finds the people who have been speaking his name, he opens up his fists and reaches out his arms, and he grithers them in. He grabs them by the head and squeezes them until they pop, just like a balloon." "Does he look like Bigfoot?" Jimbo asked. "No," said the father. "He's not like Bigfoot. And he's not like the abominable snowman either. Nobody knows what he looks like for sure. The only people who have ever seen the Grither are the people the Grither has eaten. He's as tall as a tree, but he can bend all the way over and touch the ground. His skin looks like a road map because it's transparent and all his blue and red veins show through. The blue is for fear, and the red is for rage. Hurry up and finish the story before he gets here, Steffa cried. The Grither was born on a sailing ship, said the father. It was blown off course by a storm and got lost in the Arctic Sea. They drifted around for weeks and never saw anything but glaciers and icebergs. Some of the passengers drowned, some froze to death, some starved, and the rest committed suicide. The Grither was born out of the fear and rage of all of those people. But why does he kill people? Asked Jimbo. Nobody knows, said Father. He just doesn't like anyone telling his story. Is that all? Stella asked. Is that the end of the story? Not quite, said Father. There's only one way to protect yourself from the Grither. Maybe you should stop, the mother interrupted. I think you've scared them enough. Ah, the father chuckled. You don't believe in the Grither, do you? He asked. No, the children lied. Well, you shouldn't, their father said, because I made it all up. There's no such thing as the Grither. But wait, Steffa whined. You didn't finish the story. All of a sudden, the front door blew open, and the room was enveloped in an icy blast of wind. There was a crash and the sound of breaking glass. Then 2 huge, gnarled arms reached in through the windows and grasped their parents by their heads. As the children watched in horror, the hands squeezed and squeezed, and their parents' heads popped just like a balloon. Oh, I'm just seeing this picture here that Kelsey put up from Tales of the Dark Side. Oh, there's Pumpkinhead. I don't, even in the show Tales from the Dark Side, all you saw was the hands of the creature, if I remember, crashing through the door and windows. So I don't have a picture of the Grither. Nobody lived long enough to take a picture.
Yeah, some of those pictures were supposed to be of the Grither. That's artist.
Well, yeah, the Tales from
all
the
I
Dark
can
Side.
do, I tell you, when you go to bed tonight and you close your eyes and turn your lights out and you're thinking of Christmas carols in your head, and things begin to feel a little bit weird and strange in your room. It's very dark and the wind is blowing just a little bit outside the trees. The limbs are creaking because it's cold. It's wintertime. And then all of a sudden, you feel something grab your ankles, something that doesn't feel human, but it's wrapping around your ankles. Long, slithering fingers are grasping you, and you feel a tug pulling you out of your bed. And it's the Grither. Remember this story as you die from the Grither.
Wow, that's some well wishes right there. and a hearty Merry Christmas to you.
And by the way, Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
I don't know if you'll see the New Year, but Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you
Jill
want?
might be.
I want my life back. Can I just have my life back? Late dinner, Jill. Thank you for joining us. Late dinner. Enjoy your dinner. Don't get any food poisoning. I hope you cook well.
I've got
He's got it.
real this is
He's
a
got it. Listen to him. He got it.
this is a story for recent years. You know, I'll just tell you. We were talking about cameras a minute ago.
Yeah.
This one is
What
my
is it?
Christmas tree caught more than Santa. Ooh. Last year on Boxing Day, I found a really cool ornament in a clearance box. It had a built-in camera to record a unique perspective on your holiday celebrations. I grabbed the last one from the store's dusty shelf and brought it home for less than $10. I forgot about it until my wife, my 2 daughters, and I decorated the house earlier this month. I told my daughters about the camera and said we'd secretly catch Santa in the act. I had an old costume in the attic and intended to deliver some gifts in full view of the camera on Christmas Eve. My girls were overjoyed and went back and forth trying to find the best place to put the ornament on the tree. They had no idea that Daddy repositioned it later so it could actually catch the living room and a good angle. In the nights leading up to Christmas, I turned the camera on to make sure everything was working properly. In the morning, I previewed the footage just long enough to confirm that the thing was working. Satisfied, I inserted the micro SD card back into the ornament and slipped in a new battery in anticipation for the big night. Daddy didn't want to disappoint his little girls with a failed recording. We enjoyed Christmas Eve at a family, playing board games and eating way more junk food than there was room in our stomachs. Like we do every year, we let our daughters open one gift from Mommy and Daddy before going to bed. The girls, still riding their sugar high, could be heard giggling in their bedrooms from all the way up the stairs. From time to time, my wife and I could hear one of them shush the other, claiming she'd heard hoofs on the roof or bells jingling. Eventually, our kiddos dozed off. My wife kissed me on the cheek and headed to bed while I turned off all the lights. I retrieved the costume and tiptoed to the living room, getting ready for my big feature film debut. I did everything you would expect Santa to do. I ate most of the cookies. I drank the milk. I pet my large stomach and said, "Ho, ho, ho." And I dropped a few presents by the fireplace, all in full view of the camera. A pretty good acting job, if I do say so myself. On Christmas morning, the girls came running into our bedroom to wake us up. They excitedly insisted we watch the video before opening the presents. I transferred the footage to my laptop, forwarded to where Santa showed up, and pressed play. My girls squealed with delight and jumped in front of the screen, frantically waving at Santa while obscuring the video from my view. It brought me so much joy to see how happy the girls were. I was too lazy to stop the video, so it continued to play in the background while we unwrapped our gifts. I spotted a box that I had not seen the night before. It was small and wrapped in a blue foil paper. I did not recognize it. My name was on it, but my wife seemed as surprised as I was to see it there. Noticing my confusion, my youngest daughter spoke. "Daddy, that's got to be from Mr. Elf," she said, her voice cheerful and bright. I was ready to dismiss her elf comment as just another weird thing kids say, but my wife was not so quick to ignore it. Honey, what elf are you talking about? She asked. My daughter pointed to the laptop. By then, the video had ended, and all that was left on the screen was a preview of the first frame. The one that came with Santa, she answered. Panic struck me like a bird in a jet propeller. I know my wife did not dress up as an elf. I scanned the video, clicking forward and back until I saw what my daughter had seen. There was someone in the living room. He walked into the corner after I had turned the lights off. He stood there watching me parading around as Santa. The video went completely quiet after that. It was as though the camera failed to record a single sound. The strange, tall man in an elf costume stood perfectly still for over an hour, watching the camera from a distance. After a while, he walked over to the plate of cookies and bit the head off a gingerbread man. I glanced at the plate and saw his teeth marks on the decapitated cookie. The man then quietly approached the Christmas tree. I thought the audio was not working, but as he reached the tree, I began hearing his slow and steady breaths. He reached towards the ornament, and the video stopped. In a terrified frenzy, I grabbed the blue box he left behind. I ripped the bow off of it and tossed the frilly thing away. I frantically removed the wrapping paper, opened the box, and looked inside. There, on a bed of bubble wrap, was the battery I'd put in the camera the night before. My wife took the ornament and opened the back. The battery was missing. I don't know what scares me more, what the camera caught or what the elf might have done after he turned off the camera. Oh, I like that Santa cam picture. Oh, man. That makes me think twice about putting a camera in the Christmas tree. Did everybody like that story? All right, I've got another one here.
What's this one about?
This one is about a snowman. Gee, I wonder. Oh, wait a minute. This one. Well, it's a video. I'm afraid if we play it.
We'll get another strike.
Yeah, we'll get a strike. So let's get that. That's not a story. It does say a little synopsis here. A man stays in a solitary cabin in the middle of a snowy forest. He wakes up in the middle of the night and looks outside and sees a snowman standing in the distance. Very strange because no other people live there to make a snowman. The next day, the snowman is still there. He wakes up again during the night and sees the snowman again. In the morning, he goes out for a closer look and nobody is there, so he knocks the snowman down. But the following night, something is hitting the window in anger. So you have to watch the video to get the rest of it. All righty.
Well, look up the story of Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
There's a scary Jack Frost.
There's a Jack Frost scary movie I've seen. I'm not sure if that's as a notorious serial killer, Jack Frost is being driven to his execution. The truck carrying the murderer encounters a bizarre accident that transforms him into a mutant snowman. Sheriff Sam Tyler, who caught the psychopath originally, has remained concerned about his return, and it seems his fears are well founded because before long, bodies pile up, all killed in gruesome, wintry ways. So it looks like the snowman is killing everyone. I've seen that movie. That was kind of a corny drive-in type flick.
Ah, I thought you liked that kind of movies.
Well, I do. Here's let's see. Here's another Reddit Christmas story. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. All right. So this is the full story. It's called Shopping at Home. You know, a lot of us Christmas shop on the internet. So this is a story that goes along with that. I really wanted a PlayStation 4 when it was originally released. I tried everything to get one as quickly as possible. The local Best Buy was having a Black Friday sale, and I stood in line waiting to get one. I was nowhere near being lucky enough to actually get one in this method. I then tried getting one online. As much as I wanted one, the people on eBay and Amazon who were reselling them were asking way too much money, and I could not afford them. After several days of trying my best to find a way to get one, I had to come to the conclusion that it was not going to happen. It was then that I thought I came across a bit of luck. Going through Craigslist, I found that someone was selling their PlayStation 4 and at no more than the original buying price of the system. I, of course, was skeptical. I couldn't understand why they would do that. Also, I figured as in demand as the system was at the time, someone would have claimed it right away. I immediately emailed the seller and let them know that I was very interested and hoped that they had still had it. I was surprised to get an immediate response that they did still have the PS4 and would be willing to sell it to me. They asked for my address so they could bring it over. I was sort of hesitant and asked if it would be better to meet in public. I wasn't too keen on the idea of someone coming over to my house. He let me know that he was going to be very busy all day and that he could not keep an appointment in public. It would be much better if he came over to my house. I was still not really ecstatic about the idea, but I really wanted that PS4. So I agreed and gave the guy my address. I figured it was safer than me going over to his place. This whole exchange took place about 9 a.m. I was so happy and really eager to get my PS4. My eagerness only grew as I began waiting for the guy to show up. Hell, I not only began waiting for him, I waited for him a long time. Hours passed by, and I began to think that he was not going to come. Around 2 p.m., I had gotten really impatient. I tried emailing the guy back, asking him where he was. Previously, I'd gotten very quick responses from him, but I didn't get any this time. Around 6 p.m., I had lost all hope. I figured that most likely he got a better offer from someone else and did not want to tell me. I was disappointed, more than I can possibly even tell you. I couldn't even tell you how deflated I was. It's one thing to not have gotten the item from the store. I could come to terms with that, but I was so close to having one in my hands, and I did not get the PS4. That was the scariest thing to ever happen to me. Just kidding, though. For the rest of the night, I kept looking around on Craigslist to find a new PS4 that was within my price range. I wasn't able to find anything, and before I knew it, I had wasted the entire day and the entire evening with this search. It was past midnight and I just had nothing to show for the day. I got ready for bed, and that was when I heard something. At first, I dismissed it, thinking that it was my imagination. Then I heard it again. Someone was knocking at my door. I walked up to the door and looked out the window. There was a guy standing there, and I asked who he was. He identified himself as the guy who had the PS4. He apologized for being so late and told me he had got caught up during the day. He asked if I had the money. I opened the door but kept the screen door closed. I told him I had the money, but I did not see that he had anything with him. I asked if he brought the PS4 with him, and he told me it was out in the van. He told me to get the money. He told me to get the money and come out to the van, and he would get it for me. I let him know I wasn't really comfortable walking out to his van, but he told me it was all right. I looked over his shoulder and saw that someone was in the van waiting, and he had been keeping his hand in his hooded sweatshirt all the time while talking to me. There was something more than just his hand in there. I told him I'd go get my wallet and then come back. He protested as I closed the door in his face, and then I locked it. I was too uncomfortable with this, and I went over to my phone to call the cops. As I did, I heard a loud bang on my door. Then, after a few moments, I watched the van drive away really fast. When I went to check and see if he damaged my door, I nearly fainted as I saw a knife embedded into the door itself. I was right that he had something in his sweatshirt, and that I should not go out to the van with him. So there you go. It's stories like that, and the reason why I don't shop Craigslist. I almost did one time, but the person that claimed they lived here not far from Donovan over here, or I think it's Donovan over here, and but they came up with the price on it. When somebody starts raising the price for what they posted, no. You can keep that.
Well, I'm going to share a true horrible Santa story.
Ooh.
Bruce Pardo. For many small children on Christmas Eve, nothing is more exciting than seeing Santa Claus knock on your door. However, when this jovial fellow was let in, he opened fire on the Ortega family, leaving 9 of them to perish. Bruce Pardo, Sylvia Ortega's ex-husband, plotted his revenge for quite some time before taking Sylvia's life and the lives of those she held dear. On the night of Christmas Eve 2008, the Ortega family threw a party with around 25 to 30 guests at their home in the suburbs of Los Angeles, California. Shortly after dinner, Pardo arrives at the residence dressed as Mr. Claus. When 8-year-old Katrina opens the door with a smiling face, she is greeted by 2 handguns, sending the guests into a frenzy. Many of the adults were packed near the front of the house, making small talk before planning to leave and putting them right in the line of fire. Meanwhile, most of the children were huddled at the back near the television. Parents frantically screamed, trying to grab their children and escape. Some guests even hid under tables to try and find protection from this crazy Santa Claus. Once Pardo had his fill of shooting, he broke out a homemade flamethrower that quickly engulfed the home in flames, killing a teenager on the 2nd floor. He planned to escape that night with a plane ticket to Illinois. However, the flamethrower had scorched him in the process, leaving him with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. So instead of fleeing the state, he drove to his brother's home 40 miles away, where he took his own life with a bullet through the brain. Not
Man.
all Santa Claus are good Santa Claus. That is indeed a true story that took place in Los Angeles, California back in 2008. So even with Santa Claus, be careful who you let in your house. If they're not coming down through the chimney, if they lock on the front door, it's probably not a good Santa Claus.
Nope. We got a hi from Nina Noxious.
Nina Noxious. Are you really noxious or Nina Noxious? You're not obnoxious, are you? So hello there, girl. You look almost gothic in your picture there. Are you a goth? I like the look, by the way, not being critical at all. If I had hair, I'd probably mimic you. I need to get my ears pierced. I could be Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
A lot of people are too young to remember Mr. Clean.
I guess so.
So there are a lot of very, very strange stories this time of year. And as we brought up in previous Christmases, the original celebration of Christmas involved telling ghost stories. That's why we have Scrooge and that story.
Yep.
So we're continuing. It's called The Christmas Carol, of course, is what the name of that story was. A bright light and the calm watchdog. I had an unusual visitor. Another Christmas. 2008 was a bad year for Santa Clauses. This is again Christmas Day 2008. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't Santa Claus passing by my house in Bloomington, Indiana, not Los Angeles this time. The day started in typical fashion with the opening of gifts around the Christmas tree. I served an early Christmas dinner for family and friends, and everybody departed by 5 p.m., except my sister and brother-in-law who live with me. They were sleeping in a bedroom at the end of the hall with the door open. I went into my bedroom with my dog, Toby, and shut the door securely. I was just dozing off when I heard the latch of my bedroom door open. I waited several seconds for my sister or brother-in-law to ask me whatever they came to say, but there was no other sound. It was almost 7 p.m., so my bedroom was pitch black. I'd left lights on in the kitchen and the bathroom, and there were lots of Christmas lights in the living room, so the hallway would have been well lit. I would be able to see whoever it was at the door just by lifting my head. So I pushed the blankets down and lifted my head from the pillow, but just as I would have been able to see who was in the doorway, an extremely bright light hit me right in the eyes. I shielded my eyes and yelled, "Turn out that light. You're blinding me." The light immediately disappeared, and I heard the bedroom door latch closed. My bedside light is a touch lamp, so I tapped it on and looked around the bedroom. There was no one in the bedroom except me and Toby. Toby jumped off the bed and went to the door without showing any signs of alarm. At first, I wasn't frightened because Toby is a Dutch Shepherd, well trained to be an excellent watchdog and proven personal protection dog. Since Toby was already up, I decided to let him outside and see what sis or brother-in-law needed. When I went into the hallway, I could see both of them still in bed. I took Toby to the living room to let him outside, and there was nobody there either. So who opened my bedroom door and turned a spotlight on my face? Like most people, the thoughts of loved ones are always close at hand during the holiday season. When I first went to lie down, I was thinking how happy I was that my small family had enjoyed a pleasant Christmas. But it would have been so much better if my mother and brother had still been alive to share it with us. I would like to think it was my brother's spirit stopping by to say, "Merry Christmas, I still think of you too." I haven't been able to debunk this strange event or find any kind of rational explanation. I'm half afraid that my heart stopped during my sleep, and the light I saw was the bright light people report after near death experiences. Leave it to me to see the stairway to heaven and ruin my chance at eternal paradise by saying, turn out that light. I've made a mental note that if I ever see another light, to clean up my language, just in case. So I am God. Thank you for the compliment. And I do like the look, Nina. That was not being facetious or ugly. If I had hair, I would, yeah, but look at this. Maybe I could get a tattooed head. I've seen tattooed head before.
Just get a myhauntedDolls.com cap.
I am in black. That's partially goth, right? Maybe I should just dye. But should I dye this black?
Oh.
Well, thank you for joining us, Nina. We're so happy to have you here. We don't know where you're from, but we are very happy that you joined us this evening. If you missed the first part of the show, Kevin opens up with a spirit box session with one of his many hundreds of haunted dolls, and this time he did it with that Miss Sarah, as you see in the camera there. And it was a very interesting communication with Sarah that you should go back and listen to. After that, I told the story of the Miracle Wedding Band, which, by the way, is on my hand right now. You got to go back and listen to that. I'm not going to tell it again right now. Sorry, Nina. You're going to have to go back to the archive version of this show and watch it, comment, hit the like, subscribe. You know the things to do. Then go to myhauntedDolls.com and buy a book. Somebody needs one for Christmas or New Year's or just to read anytime. And then, of course, join us at any time and any place. We're wide open and we don't judge people at all. Well, Kevin's kind of judgmental. He picks on me all the time.
I'll pick on you.
Dina says it could have been one your loved ones passing through, and you can be gothic and not have hair. I live in North Carolina, and unfortunately didn't miss it, but we'll go back and watch it. Thank you, Nina, and I'd like your comments on that story, if you would so oblige. Kevin, I've just given 2 stories. Do you have another in hand?
Yes, I got one. There's a scary Christmas story.
So I'm going to take my scary gothic bald head out of the picture so we can take a scary story.
All righty. So this story takes place 4 years ago, and it still haunts me to this day. It was Christmas night, and my family were driving home from this fancy restaurant. I, unlike the family, was not tired, so the 45-minute drive seemed perpetual. On top of that, my little sister was constantly moaning about how her friend didn't get her anything for Christmas. After about 20 minutes of driving, my dad stopped at a gas station to get some cigarettes, and my sister, brother, and mother all got out to pee. I stayed in the car as I had already gone before we left. Once they all left, I decided to play a few games on my phone. I looked at the car clock and saw that 10 minutes had passed, so I immediately wondered what was taking them so long. As soon as I peered out the car window, I saw a man staring at our car. The man startled me as I did not know how long he had been watching. What made it even more unnerving is that he had a plain, blank face. No expression was shown. It was hard to make out any features as it was pretty dark. And he was not standing in an illuminated part of the station. He was about 5'9" and looked to be middle-aged. Once he saw me notice him, he started walking towards the car. And I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't scared. Luckily, my dad came back with the rest of the family just as the man took a couple of steps. My dad apologized and told me he had been in an argument with the cashier. I didn't care. I was just glad that my dad was with me. I took another glance at the man outside, and he was still staring, but this time he had an annoyed look on his face. We drove off, and for the rest of the car ride, I could not stop thinking about that man. This would not have been too bad if it had ended there, but it did not. Later that night, I was watching YouTube while everyone else slept, and lucky for me, a storm was raging over us. I enjoy storms. It makes me cozy as I'm laying in bed. I put my phone down and just enjoyed the ambiance. That did not last for long as I heard something smash into the window behind me. I lurched forward and nearly fell out of the bed. I thought a bird had just smashed into the window. I parted the blinds, and what I saw next haunted me. I saw a man standing out by my parents' cars, looking up at my room. I took a closer look, and I nearly had a heart attack. It was the same man that I saw at the gas station. Only this time, when our eyes met, he grinned. Being the 14-year-old that I was, I did the manly thing and screamed at the top of my lungs. My dad came running down the stairs and entered my room. "Why the crap are you screaming?" he said. I told him about the man, and I explained everything that had happened. My dad grabbed a baseball bat and told me to call the police. After 10 minutes, the police turned up outside our house and found the man in our shed. He got arrested, and that was the last time I saw him. The next day, my dad inspected the house, and we found the handle of our back door had been damaged, but not completely broken. This gives me an eerie feeling as if he actually managed to get in, he could have harmed us or possibly killed us. That's no way to celebrate Christmas Eve, is it? Getting killed by a maniac.
Not for the person that got killed, for sure.
Maybe for the maniac who did the killing, but
You ready for another one?
yeah.
And mine are true stories. These are not made up puzzle stories. These are really real. They really happened. Christmas time, 1995, or it could have been 1996, at my aunt's house on the reservation in North Dakota. Some of my family was in the living room watching television. The kids were playing in the rooms and are sleeping. And my uncle, aunt, and I were sitting at the table putting a puzzle together. My cousin, who worked at a casino, would come home around midnight or 1 a.m. This night, as she pulled up and was walking toward the house, she looked in the window and saw me sitting at the table with my uncle sitting across from me and someone standing to the left of me and someone standing in the corner. So she continued to walk in the house thinking nothing of it. As we were sitting there talking, she looked at me and asked, "Who was standing next to you a few minutes ago and who was in the corner?" I told her, "No one." She said, "Oh yeah, there was someone standing next to you. It looked like your mom and she was playing with your hair." I have long hair, which I used to wear down all the time. She said this person was running her hair on your hand on your hair like a mother does a child. It kind of freaked me out, being I was probably only 12 or 13 at the time. My cousin swears up and down that someone was standing over me, rubbing my head and watching me put the puzzle together with my aunt and uncle. and that there was another person standing behind this person. We got around to thinking it was probably her mom she saw. She had passed away on her birthday a week before Christmas back in 1992. In my family, we consider our aunts and uncles to be just like our moms and dads. After thinking that it could have been her, it didn't scare me so much. However, we couldn't figure out who the person was standing in the corner. And always around Christmas time, something strange always happens. But we just think it's her visiting us. Christmas visitations. Have you ever been visited around the holidays? Have you ever had any strange events around the holidays? It's a very emotional time, especially I know Kevin has lost his mother.
Yeah, well, I mean, we dealt with it pretty good. And that's been 6 years already. Good grief.
And I know that not everybody is as wrapped around the holidays as other people are. Some people are a lot more into, celebrations, family, Christmas. Other people are very passive about it. But I would assume, from what I know about Kevin, he probably was pretty much into the holidays with family.
Yeah.
Still are.
We were all for Christmas.
Yeah. So have you got another story, or should I continue? Hello?
I got a video of me telling a scary story, but it's almost 20 minutes long. I'll save that for next week.
Well, you may continue while you're looking.
Legend from Iceland.
Huh? You're
A
cutting
short
in
one
and
from
out.
Iceland here.
Okay, go ahead.
I said I've got a scary one from Iceland.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Iceland seems to have no shortage of Christmas terrors, and the Yule cat, Y-U-L-E cat, is certainly a force on that list to be reckoned with. In short, the Yule cat is a giant cat who punishes people for not working hard. Legend has it that this palatial whiskered animal once roamed the Icelandic countryside, looking for those, especially children, around the holidays who had not received clothing or done their chores. Are you a good boy, a good girl? Ooh. For a little more context, kids who worked hard throughout the year were treated to fresh garments just before the new year. Those who did not were deemed lazy. And when you're bad or lazy, instead of Santa, the Yule cat feeds off such laziness and badness, literally. Chomp, 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 chomp.
Is that it?
And a fun fact is that additionally, this Yule cat legend was used as a driving force for employers in Iceland to ensure their workers made their quota. It's kind of funny.
Well,
okay.
Here's another one.
Okay.
My parents and I lived in a small town that was around 90 years old. The year would have been around 1996. We lived there from the time I was 7 years old to the time I was 19. From the very day that we moved in, I felt that I was not alone. One year around Christmas time, I was having a friend spend the night. The heat had just shut off briefly, and she and I were sitting in the living room watching television when the temperature dropped substantially. As I rose to turn up the heat, the Christmas tree began to shake violently. Ornaments were falling off right and left, and she and I were terrified. We ran upstairs and lay down on our bed. My white cat curled up with us, and my door was open slightly. When I gazed out at the dark hallway, I was horrified to see a tall white figure run down the hall. I turned to my friend. She acknowledged that we had seen the exact same thing. She never spent the night with me again.
Ooh.
Countdown is on with Christmas holiday stories. This used to be a common thing that they did on this time of year, and that's why we have the Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future, and all those kind of stories. That was a common thing. And we're bringing that tradition back because Kevin loves ghost stories. He loves ghosts. Look behind him. What is that? What is that in the dark? His two eyes staring over his shoulder. Is that a hand I see reaching out?
Oh no! There's nothing there.
No reason to be afraid unless you want to be.
Ooh.
Fear not.
Hey,
I think
did you know there's actually do you know there's actually a witch at Christmas time?
Yeah, yeah, it's my ex-wife.
In the folklore of Bavaria and Austria, Frau
Bavaria?
Perkta was said. Yeah, Bavaria and Austria. Frau Perkta said to roam the countryside at midwinter and to enter homes during the 12 days between Christmas and Epiphany, especially on the 12th night. She would know whether the children and young servants of the household had behaved well and worked hard all year. If they had, they might find a silver coin that next day in a shoe or maybe in a pail. If they had not, she would slit their bellies open, remove their stomach and guts, and stuff the hole with straw and pebbles. She was particularly concerned to see that girls had spun the whole of their allotted portion of flax or wool during that year. She would also slit people's bellies open and stuff them with straw if they ate something on the night of her feast day other than the traditional meal of fish and gruel.
Kevin tells some horrific stories. I hope everyone sleeps well tonight and tomorrow night and the next night.
A Christmas witch. Who would have thunk it? Oh. Well, that's all I had.
Well, we're right at the end of our show tonight, and go back if you didn't hear the whole thing. Kevin and Sarah sitting in a tree. K-I-N. Okay, that's not that. Anyway, Sarah, the love doll. Is that a sex doll? No, that's just a regular doll.
Hey, no. She's just a pretty doll.
Yeah, Kevin talks very sweetly to his dolls, and he puts his fingers through their hair, and he does all this. Yeah, he won't do that for me. Oh, it might be because I don't have hair.
Not in the trashy way he speaks of there.
I didn't like me trashy. Moi. Anyway, so that's the way we open the show up, and then the story of the miracle ring, right there. You got to go back and listen to that, and share your thoughts and comments. We appreciate it. And then the last hour, we've talked about some bona fide, real horror Santa scary stuff, and who knows about some of the others that may have been urban legends or they may have been real too.
Yeah.
Kevin is got to be careful. There's a lot of movement in his house tonight.
A lot of movement.
Oh, no. He's got gas. I'm sorry.
Ah.
Are you going to be back next week? Next Tuesday night?
Well, of course. And I'm going to play. There's a video on my old channel of me telling a creepy Christmas story that's based on a legend / movie. So I'll play that next week. It's about 18-something minutes long.
So we know we got 20 minutes of our show filled up next week, thanks to Kevin Kane and his home show. And what's the title? Is there a title of that story?
I think it was called Caller in the Night.
Caller or collar?
Caller, like on the phone. Caller
Right.
in the Night.
Caller in the night. And that you guys give us ideas, but have you ever had an experience, anyone around the holidays, of a deceased loved one of making some kind of appearance? I did. Have you ever had a strange phone call from beyond, or just share your stories with us? We like these real life stories from our watchers, listeners, and so forth. And it saves Kevin a lot of time trying to dig up information too. So look forward to it. Don't forget,
Yes.
myhonestdollars.com. Kevin Kane has written a couple of books that might be worth your time to read. And then one that's making a very special gift, Kevin, is something about what's the name of this latest book now? Bringing comfort and peace.
Fear not. Hey, get that off there.
I didn't put it up.
I did that myself. Fear not, weep not. Scriptures of my life and others too.
All right, now mentioning that book, where we just want to give a mention again of Catherine's mother has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and we certainly have our thoughts going out there. Kevin's father is healing up nicely, except now he's having some itching problem because he needs to take because he has bandages that he's breaking out from. And is he going to have the other knee surgery now?
He's going to look for something else. He started to say he was just going to wear a brace on that other one, but I think he's going to see if there's other options. But he is not going back to that doctor to get another.
Well, I know that that recovery from those kind of things is very horrible. But anyway, we wish everybody the best of the week forthcoming. I'm going to be in Georgia at the end of the week. Then I got to be in Springville on Sunday, and then I've got meetings and pretty busy time. And join us next Saturday night. Say good night.
Yes.
Peace.
Good night. Good night, Kevin.
Good night, Kevin. Good night, Kelsey. Sleep well. And don't let the bed bugs bite.
Or the witches.
Or the ghosts, or the dolls, or the cat. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.